Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monday Night Live. We are back. A special emergency update for you guys today. I've been inundated over the last 2 or 3 weeks with questions, concerns, what's going on LinkedIn. LinkedIn have released no information about the changes, so I am coming live to share with you what I believe is going on. So drop in the comments, say hello. The reason we have a little bit of an intro there is to allow you guys a bit of time to log on and say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I noticed about a 30-second delay, but drop in and say hello. Let's make this as interactive as possible. So what are the updates that you guys have noticed? Let me know in the chat. One of the big ones is, of course, that the mobile video feed has been removed. Despite creators like myself and many other experts talking about, how to use the mobile video feed. Hi, Clarence. How you doing, mate? Hey, Gunnar. Martina from Sydney. Storm representing Perth. Here we go. Manila, Philippines, welcome. Excellent. Guys, great to be here. I set this event up at 3 p.m. this afternoon. I think that it's the right topic for the moment. Some of these events are organized months in advance with guests. Some of them are organized last minute. This is one of those last minute ones, and it's really just because of the changes that have been going on LinkedIn. And it's not just in the last 2 weeks. This is something that's been going on for the last year, big time in 2025. Now, when updates happen, I think it's important to look at the objective that LinkedIn is working around, okay? We don't need that many impressions to get the same level of comments as before. One way to say impressions are down. Absolutely. That's a really good sign. That's a fantastic sign that your audience is getting more relevant. All right. So overall, what is LinkedIn's objective? Okay. Obviously, it's a public company. They've got shareholders. The thing that LinkedIn is measuring that directly affects their revenue is LinkedIn user session time. So the amount of time that people spend on the platform is very important to LinkedIn from a business perspective. Now, from a company and culture and ethical perspective, LinkedIn is very big on being a platform where people can go and feel safe to share, professional information, for it to be a trusted, reliable source of information. And they've been doing a pretty good job. There's a thing called the Digital Trust Index, which does surveys and measures the amount that people trust different social media platforms. Now, LinkedIn is at least 3 times higher than the next best social media platform. So when it's 3 times more trusted, the content on there from a business perspective is 3 times more valuable. Really important to note that, because when people say LinkedIn ads are expensive, you've got to look at it and go, well, they are 3 times more valuable. Are they that expensive? Amber, LinkedIn updates its various dashboards and overview displays in the app. It's also had an option to duplicate your ads. Absolutely. Do you know what? Amber's hit the nail on the head there with LinkedIn ads. They've rolled out a bunch of new updates. I think LinkedIn ads are a big opportunity. The amount of changes they're making there at the moment, and they're really positive ones, like they're ones that really impact the usability. Like even being able to predict return on investment now, they've got AI models that will predict your return on investment. And they don't just give you the data, they actually summarize it for you in a way that's easy to understand as well, which means that, your average marketing manager is going to be able to get a lot better at LinkedIn ads. But aside from that, overall, these are LinkedIn's objectives, right? They want a trust-based, ethical platform, and they want to keep people on the platform longer. Now, they've got a bit of a challenge because the way that they monitor that has to be a combination of machines and humans. So there's 3 stages that LinkedIn will go through when it's analyzing a piece of content. And what they'll do is they'll either demote content so it doesn't reach as many people based on how confident they are that, you know, that is an authentic post, that person has credibility in that area. And measures like this, they've based it on 3 models. So we actually know what criteria they're using when they decide whether something is a trustworthy piece of content. And what I'll do is, while I'm talking, I'll bring it up for you, because I want to get right into the detail here with you on Monday Night Live. And so it always starts with machines, and they've integrated AI onto LinkedIn, but not that much from a customer like not from a user perspective, actually from a engineering perspective behind the scenes. So think about it. AI, they're using AI to monitor your content, and that's really been their priority. And then they're also using AI to decide what you get shown in your feed. Because if you think about it, when you go to the news feed, the more relevant the content is, the more interested you are in it, the longer you're going to spend on LinkedIn, correct? It's like Netflix. When you log on, they do a pretty good job of showing you your favorite shows right at the top when you log on. They're doing exactly the same thing on Netflix. LinkedIn is exactly the same, just takes a couple less clicks to get out of LinkedIn, right? All right, let's have a look here. So I'm going to bring up this trust criteria, because I think this is important. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. One of the things that LinkedIn has announced more recently is that I've just got to search for it. Is that they're cracking down on fairness. And what is fairness? Fairness is harassment, racial profiling, anything controversial that promotes violence and things like that. But because they use machines to analyze the content, there are certain phrases and certain words that you shouldn't use in your posts, because you're going to limit the amount of attention you get, right? So obviously things like mentioning the word virus, you got to be careful doing that, because it could be seen as controversial. Anything government related can be seen as controversial. I've even heard that some creators have been limited, their reach has been limited when they've used competitors of LinkedIn's brand names in their posts. Whether or not that's true, I do not know. But okay, content moderation, updates to LinkedIn's terms of service. Where is it? The trust criteria. It's trust.ai, I think it is. They basically outsource this trusting, and it's you know what? This is going to take too much time. I'm just going to tell you with a summary from my memory. They outsource this trusting to 3 models, and one of the big models that they use is based on how you can analyze trust from journalists. And so when you're looking at a journalist's article, how do you know how credible it is? Well, first of all, you want to know that the author's information is on the website. So, you know, you can see what their background is, whether they're an authority on that subject. They'll probably have references in the article of where they got their information from, so you can see how factual it is. They may have collaborated with other companies or individuals. Very important when you're looking at research, you know, who created the research. If it's, you know, collaborative or not, then you've got multiple checkpoints along the way. Even LinkedIn, when they do their research on their own members, will quite often partner with the research firm to do it, right? So what does that mean for you guys? What does that mean? Well, the overarching theme is trust and authenticity. The overarching theme is trust and authenticity. Every single day, new LinkedIn AI tools are coming out. This is an opportunity and it's a problem, because not only are they coming out, they're getting better and better and better, and more people are discovering them. We've gone past that early adopters phase. So now like 70% of people that post content on LinkedIn are familiar with AI tools, right? And so unless you're a very confident writer and you've been doing it a long time, like it's a big cheat code, because it will write content technically better than you can if you haven't got experience with writing copywriting, like short form content like that. So from a user perspective, people are actually craving authentic content, and LinkedIn is trying to serve better, more authentic content to its users, so it's not giving them machine-based content. So I'm not saying don't use AI at all. As everybody here would know, if you've heard me speak before, I'm a big believer in AI. What I'm saying is humanizing AI, right? And that term, if you're in the marketing world, does get thrown around a lot, but I want to talk about what it actually means, right? And so it's a bit more than just going, hey, AI, humanize this for me, which means that it takes out a bit of punctuation and maybe, some incorrect grammar. It actually means think about what you can share, which is something AI can't. And I want to go back to storytelling here. Storytelling is something that AI can replicate, but not without a human. So to give you an example, when I share a story on LinkedIn, I've got my mobile phone out here. I use the voice to text on ChatGPT, and I say, hey, ChatGPT, this interesting thing happened to me this morning, and it reminded me of it's like a metaphor for doing this in sales. Could you write me a short LinkedIn post using a strong hook at the start to capture attention? Keep the sentences short, keep the paragraphs 1 or 2 lines, space out the content a bit for me, and finish with a call to comment. And then I just let ChatGPT work its magic. And then I kind of read it, and then I either copy some of it or I copy the whole thing, and then I just cut a bunch out and edit it just to put my own spin on it, mainly just to make it authentic. I don't think I'm actually making the content better. I'm just making it more real. That'll take me 10, 15 minutes these days to do that. You've got to get better at writing at that initial prompt, so you don't have to do it more than once. Or just write it yourself. Like I wrote a post myself on a Sunday recently that I hadn't, done it without AI very often lately, without AI's help, and it did really well. It did really well. I wrote it in 2 minutes, and it was not better than what AI can write, but it did really well. And this is why, because somehow the machines are getting better at learning, what's authentic content. The biggest 4 mistakes I'm going to talk about now. Emma, welcome. Sorry if I haven't said hello yet. We've got Amber in the house and Shebaz Yamin. Can you guide me on how to find clients? My skill set includes web and mobile app development, and I am a freelancer. If anybody wants some help with web and mobile, speak to Shebaz Yamin in the chat. Mate, I can definitely help give you some guidance there, but we need to get up to date on what's happening on LinkedIn. So pay attention, and I'm going to come back to you with a free resource at the end, and we'll help you get on your way. Amber posted, when posting on LinkedIn, you should try to avoid sharing posts from other social media sites. That's true, especially sharing links. Yeah. Always trying to add links that are from your own domain or creditable sources. LinkedIn articles are your best friends. Yeah, look, links in posts are, at the moment, are a no-no from me. It's a bit of a mixed bag in terms of feedback. I just always think about what LinkedIn's objective is, and if it's to keep users on the platform. If you put a link in your post, I think your reach will get limited unless it's an ad, because they don't want people to leave. And if people do leave, they're not going to comment. They're not going to engage on your posts. So I try to put links in the comments. I still do that. Not everyone does. These are 4 big mistakes that people are making in 2025. And I have made these mistakes. So this is how I know. Have I made all of them? Pretty much. Step number 4. Okay. Number 1, posting engagement bait. What's engagement bait? Well, similar to when you go fishing and you put bait on the end of the hook. Engagement bait is something that you put in there to get people to comment, but it's fine if it's relevant, right? So the whole thing about clickbait is your trick. Like if clickbait was originally designed for titles of blog posts and titles of videos and thumbnails, because they account for about 70% of why people would read something or watch something. You know, the title is very important in a blog article, the thumbnail and the title on a YouTube video. And so what, you know, certain people would do is they'd be like, they say something that the video actually didn't have anything to do with. Like, I saw something once, like Eminem was killed in a car crash or something, and it was like, you know, I don't know, it's something like that, which isn't real. So people click because it's like, you know, controversial or whatever. And then posting engagement bait is the same thing, but it's bait for engagement, bait for comments. So, you know, things like, what's your favorite color, right? If you ask people, you know, people that, or you do that in like a poll, you're going to get your posts will get limited. And it's not just that post, it'll be subsequent posts. You almost go into what they call like a shadow ban, where your content can get restricted for 2 weeks. I've had this happen to me. And they're using a 3-step moderation process. So AI, then it's human AI hybrid review, and then it's manual escalation, right? So a lot of people, they're making it easier for people to flag accounts as spam. So this becomes quite important because it is actually educating people on what is spam. And so these things might not be a huge deal right now, but they are the trends that are happening on LinkedIn. So this is the stuff that we need to be aware of, because they will be a huge deal in a year. Things are moving so fast. Like if this was the year 2020, I'd say 5 years. But these days, things are accelerating so fast, easily a year. Not cross-posting TikTok videos. TikTok's a great source of awesome content, hey? You could get some great ideas. I don't use TikTok that much, but some great ideas on there. Hello, I'm from India. GS Kumar. Welcome. How about when you add a link in your own website as a call to action on LinkedIn posts? Is that frowned upon? Look, if you want my advice, I just don't do it. I don't send people off of LinkedIn on my own posts. You obviously do that on your profile. That's where you're supposed to have a link. So the idea with posts is always to drive people to your profile. So when people tell me, oh, you know, I got 500,000 views on my video, I always ask straight away, you know, how many profile views did you get? Because that's the conversion. People will click on your name. Clicking on your website, I would put it in the comments. There's a good chance that they see it in the comments these days, but that's the practice I'm using. The research says that it doesn't affect your reach, but I just don't believe it. I don't see how that can be true. Like, I think you got to be careful what you take from these research reports. I just don't see that aligning with LinkedIn's user agreement. And I just take that with a pinch of salt. You can repurpose TikTok videos on LinkedIn, but make sure that exactly. Spot on, Amber. Yeah, it's funny. We can learn a lot from other social platforms. What evidence do we have that verifying gets you extended exposure apart from LinkedIn's annoying ads? No, there's no proof that verification gets you any more reach. But if you think about it again, LinkedIn's user objective, when they look at your content, they are not only looking at what the content's about, they do that, and then they also look at your profile to see if that's where your expertise is. So, you know, if I consistently talk about LinkedIn marketing and my profile is about LinkedIn marketing, that tells the algorithm that I'm an expert, I'm an authority. They look at how long you've been doing that for. And they probably look outside the platform. If they don't do it already, they're going to be doing it soon and looking at your authority outside of LinkedIn. So as soon as I start talking about something random that has nothing to do with what I normally talk about, I don't get as much reach because it's analyzing the content and the profile. And that's why you've got to be consistent, because if you post randomly once every 2 or 3 weeks, LinkedIn's got no idea what you're an authority on, because it's not looking back that far. It's not just it won't look at a post from 6 months ago and go, okay, yeah, he's an authority. You got to think about it. Like, LinkedIn's got so many choices now of what it can show to its users, because more people are posting on the platform. Their algorithms are smarter. So why would LinkedIn choose to show somebody that posts once every 2 or 3 weeks when they can post someone else who's posting consistently twice a week? You know, you could take it as far as posting the same time on the same day each week, and that to me, long-term is a smart strategy. I, however, do not do that because I must have ADHD or something, because I can't commit to something like that. But every Monday night, you'll see me here at 6 p.m. I think that this is a great way to build authenticity. I haven't seen a big impact in the number of views and all that sort of stuff since I've started doing Monday Night Live, but this is a long-term strategy. This is going to be a real serious topic in 2 years' time, without a doubt. AI agents will be everywhere. And I've been doing my research. I've spoken to the big AI companies, and they're selling most of these to people that are using AI agents to pretend to be themselves. They're not even saying, hi, this is Nathaniel's AI agent. They're not even they're saying it's Nathaniel. And I'm like, what? I would definitely disclose that I am a robot, right? Or they say, just give her a name, call her Sally, and we'll make up a person. Man, the amount of inauthenticity that's going to be out there soon is huge. I think verification is very important. It's very important for journalists. It's going to be very important for content creators long term. So I haven't recommended to my clients until very recently that they do verification. So it's a new thing that I'm a big believer on. Data being breached is used third-party. Yet again, go to your settings, make sure that you turn off the third-party data access button under the privacy section in your profile settings. Okay, guys, the biggest mistakes: creating content for the algorithm, not for people. This is something that I came across on Google. When was it? 15 years ago. 15 years ago. Can you believe it? I could get websites to the top of Google. That was my jam. I was an SEO guy, and I was in email marketing and later Google AdWords, and that's where my specialty was. And I could get websites to the top of Google within a few months, hack the algorithm. At the time, they were using inbound links. They don't use them as much anymore. You could get websites to the top of Google without many inbound links at all. Don't let SEO companies tell you any different. That is all bullshit to get you paying it matters, but not that much, right? So it used to matter a lot. And so you could go out and get all of these links back to your website, and then it would go number one. And I was getting pretty good at this. And I got a property investment company that I was working for in Southeast Asia to the top of Google. We were getting 20 leads a day. And then I got recruited by a company in Hong Kong who heard that I could do this. They had 150 agents, and I was going to go over there and transform their marketing. And almost when I was on the plane to Hong Kong for my new job, Google updates its algorithm. So all of a sudden that website that was on page 1, right at the top, is on page 10 or something. Google. So I learned about Google AdWords and got really good at that, and we could get clicks for 50 cents a click. But as the competition came in and AdWords got smarter, became more difficult and more expensive, and therefore, it's not like you've got first mover advantage anymore. That is what's happening on LinkedIn right now. That is what's happening here. The algorithm is getting smarter, and so it's gone past the time where you can trick the algorithm. You might get away with it a little bit here and there, but ultimately, what you need to do is start creating content for people, not the algorithm. Forget about the algorithm. Think about what people actually want, because the algorithm's that smart that it's gonna know. It's gonna start showing people what they actually want, right? So start making sure that your network is relevant. What do I mean by that? Well, build a network of people that you have relationships with, and if they're in your target audience, build a relationship with them, right? It's not going to show your content if you don't have a relationship with them, because they're not going to engage with it. You're not private messaging. There's no signals to LinkedIn that they care about your content, right? One of the biggest hacks that people don't know about, and it's not even a hack. I know some people think a hack is a trick, but one thing about the LinkedIn algorithm that they don't tell you is the private messages are a ranking factor. So if you send out 20 private messages to people in your target audience, they don't necessarily have to ask for a sales call anymore. You could ask them about how their business is going, or you could ask them if they wanted a footy on the weekend if you want to, but you have conversations with them. that tells LinkedIn, like if they're replying, they've got to reply, obviously. It's not a one-way conversation. But that tells LinkedIn that you're interested in what they've got to say and they're interested in what you've got to say. Therefore, your content's more likely to show up. Isn't that interesting? You're not actually doing any sales pitch or any selling or anything or getting them to click anything. You're just having a conversation. And that's enough for LinkedIn to show your content to them. So the overall overarching thing is actually to have more authentic relationships and to have real relationships. There's no tricks to building a relationship. I mean, obviously you can get good at it and you can get faster at it. I don't think like relationships, people have always told me relationships take time to build. I don't believe that to be true. I don't think it takes time. What I think it takes is touch points. That's what I look at it. So I always think like, you want to have multiple touch points with people in order to build a relationship with them. And it's good to have touch points on different platforms and different areas, because when I'm on LinkedIn, I'm in a different mindset than when I'm in my email inbox, and I'm in a different mindset when I'm at Friday drinks after work. If you want to build a relationship with somebody, you engage with them in multiple places. It's like some dating advice I got once from someone. You want to make, build a relationship with a girl really quickly on the same day, take her to 3 different places. It's funny. I don't know what I thought of that, but anyway, so touch points, how can you have more touch points? Send the private messages, engage on their content. When they engage on your content, reply back, have a phone call, build real relationships with people, and don't just post and ghost. And so you need to have some sort of system to manage this if you're going to do it at scale. So I suggest looking at a CRM. I'm using Pipedrive. There's some great CRMs out there, but you want ones that ideally integrate with LinkedIn. I think that's handy. And also you can set up like email automation with, so like a CRM and an email marketing tool. And then what you can do is you can like give people a different tag when they're at different stages of the customer journey. So, if somebody you just started talking to, let's call them a prospect. If somebody inquires or they've, download a resource, let's call them a lead. And then they can get automated, follow-ups as well as your private messages. And I don't think that email automation replaces you at all. It's just something that is going to happen no matter what. And you can also just set it up to give you reminders, just set it up to give you reminders to follow up with somebody after a certain time frame. Because if you don't do reminders and things like that, you're just going to forget. How is there a fly in here? Australia for you, mate. I'm going to share some of these comments. Especially in fields like marketing tech, often get more connection requests and collaborations opportunities. That's true. Yep. It's the overall trend for me. Because if you think about it, on Instagram and TikTok, this verification thing is a big problem. LinkedIn don't want that problem, right? The fact that it's free is like, it's worthwhile taking advantage of. On other platforms, you actually have to pay to be verified, and you do get prioritized on other platforms. LinkedIn has a tendency to follow what works. And normally Instagram and Facebook, and those are the main ones, YouTube as well, are ahead of the pack, Twitter used to be, not anymore. And the issue with verification, Sue says, if I passport, the name on your passport will be put on LinkedIn. Yeah. I mean, and, people can fake this stuff. So be careful out there. Data's being leaked all the time as well. There are fake profiles for sale online that they say are real people, and they're either stolen identity. Like, it's a very difficult world out there. Data security is very important. As much of a pain in the ass it is, like I just got a new phone and like logging into everything it's just a nightmare, but you got to do it. Okay, chasing virality with AI flavored fluff. This is a mistake that my fellow content creators and LinkedIn influencers are doing big time. They're posting, generic ChatGPT stuff that has proven to go viral in the past. You need to bring back you into your content, your voice, your quirks, all of it. It's so important that, these things that made your content look less professional 10 years ago when everyone was trying to be professional on LinkedIn, now is your key advantage. The world has changed. I'm doing a photo shoot and a video shoot with a client in Sydney next week. Well, I've got 2 clients in Sydney next week, and I'm not even using 4K to shoot these videos anymore. And I don't want them to look too polished. And a lot of the content that I'm shooting is going to be off the cuff. It's not going to be scripted. And a lot of the content that I'm going to be creating coming up, like I've got a lot of videos that are educational, that have got a lot of motion graphics in them and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to keep doing those. But at the same time, I want to start posting some authentic, just voice to camera stuff. So that actually like contradicts a lot of what I say, because, you know, you need to capture attention and hold on to attention. Now, you do that through creating a hook, which is like getting people's curiosity and attention at the start, like telling them what they're about to learn in the video or what they're about to experience. But when everyone starts doing it and it's kind of moving in that direction, especially with the influencers, how's that going to grab attention if everyone's doing it? So all of a sudden there's somebody there with the voice to camera and they're kind of just winging it. Might grab attention. That's why I'm going to be trialing that as well. You'll notice those posts come up from me. So let's see how they do. But these are the overarching themes. Number 4, neglecting relationships. Engagement pods, ladies and gentlemen. If you are in an engagement pod, I would implore you to get out now. Engagement pods are groups of people that are creating content. They're struggling to get likes and comments. So what they do is they all come together into a group. They post the URL to their post in the group. Everybody in the group will go and like and comment on their post. And in exchange for doing that for the other members of the group, they will do the same for them. So all of a sudden you get all this, you know, likes and comments, the idea being that, you know, the algorithm sees them as popular creators and therefore pushes the content out to more people. Now, I mean, I could go on about this for hours. I tried an engagement pod when I first heard about them. I was living in Melbourne. Must have been 7 years ago. I was in a member of one for a few months, and you know, like they were cool members. It was like a LinkedIn influencer one, so they were popular influencers. You know, they all had about 5 to 10,000 people following them. They've all got like 150,000, 200,000 now. And they all do personal branding on LinkedIn. Isn't that interesting? They teach people how to get in authentic engagement. Or they got good at it along the way. But the point is, it's worked in the past in terms of getting you more views. It doesn't work with getting you more relevant views. I left because I realized that while I'm commenting on all these people's posts and they're commenting on mine, I'm actually teaching the algorithm to show my content to irrelevant people. Even if, like, yes, they're in personal branding, or yes, they're in social media, and technically their audience should be people interested in social media, they're not my audience, right? I'm not interested in dealing with the same people they are. I want to be really super niche with the company sizes and the decision makers that I'm dealing with. And I wasn't getting any better. Because if you're getting inauthentic engagement, how are you going to learn what works? You don't actually learn what works by sitting in a boardroom with a whiteboard. You learn what works by listening to your audience. Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, is the best at this. Posts 100 times a day, and then he analyzes the comments. The ones with the most engagement, he will create more content like that. The ones with the comments with like real detail in them, like, you know, answering the controversy or asking more questions, he creates more content around that. And he's been doing that optimization for like 20 years. And so now when he posts content, he knows exactly what his audience is interested in. He knows exactly. When he doesn't, you know, he can have someone follow him around all day and just post engage. You can just do engaging videos after engaging videos because he knows what they're interested in. So don't neglect relationships. Move out of engagement pods if you're using them. You know, the way to use that whole reciprocity, it's a word I've never been able to pronounce. I like always say it wrong from stage, but people will reciprocate engagement. So you can use the same principles, just not in an engagement pod, not in a group where you're showing, first of all, people like, you know, who are a bit savvy can see that you're getting the same comments. Like, you lose instant credibility. Like if I look at another LinkedIn trainer and they're getting this comments from the same people every post, I know exactly what they're doing. And if they're going to do that for their clients, it's a bad move. You know, so you can imagine, like, if I'm competing against one of those LinkedIn trainers, what do? You know, do I tell the client? I say, be careful. Everything's not what it seems, you know. If you're telling people that you can make them, popular and get loads of leads, and you're using inauthentic engagement to try and show credibility, you are lying. You are lying to. That's how you're starting the relationship with your customers, by not telling the truth. It is the same thing with best-selling Amazon authors. I felt the same way when I used to go to these. I used to hear from these guys who go to book workshops to learn to be a bestseller, but the workshop's not actually writing a really good book. It's about how to hack Amazon. So, like, you go into like a niche category and like a subcategory and whatever, and then on a certain day you buy 10 books. And on that day, you're the bestseller in some medieval category on Amazon. And then they're going around getting speaking gigs and telling people from stage, I'm an Amazon bestseller. By the way, my book's at the back, it's $15. When really you just bought 9 copies yourself and your mum bought one. That's lying to people. Like, people are buying it because they think that it's a popular book and loads of people are reading it, and it's just not true. That's completely unethical. It's a bad way to build a relationship. It's not going to, like, even if you are focused so much on your own needs that you don't care, that's going to work against you long term, because you're always going to need new people. Because as soon as they find out that you lied to them, the trust is gone, and you're going to need new attention every single time. So align your objectives with your audience, with your customers. Give them what they want, give them what they need, meet them where they're at, talk about the problem. If they don't know what the solution is yet, talk about the problem, DMs, comment conversations. That's the way to reciprocate, is you go and comment on people's posts. So you find the people in your target audience. There's 3 categories. People in your target audience. For me, it's CEOs of finance companies and investment banks. That's my main target, right? So those guys I can help the most. That's why I target them. It's funny when you ask people, oh, why do you target this customer? They say, oh, well, they've got lots of money. It's always about them. There's always reasons about them. What you want to do is find a target audience that you can add the most value to. In exchange, you will get the most value from them. But who can you help the most? For me, it's financial services, right? So I want to target people that could be potential customers. And I use Sales Navigator to do this. And then I narrowed down on people who have posted recently is a good one. It's a good one because they're active on LinkedIn. They're active on LinkedIn if they're posting. And if they're posting, you can go comment on their post. Now, if you comment on their post before you send them a connection request, you'll find that you'll get between 2 to 3 times the amount of people accept your connection request. Don't just comment with like good post, great post, or some sort of emoji. Be thoughtful. Write a bit more than that. The length of your comment matters. LinkedIn has started measuring how many times your profile gets exposed from commenting on other people's posts. And the people that are actively doing this, that are actively commenting on other people's posts, are getting a lot more views on their profile from that than they are from the content they're posting. And I'm talking about the big influencers. So if it's working for them, it's damn sure going to work for you guys. If you're not getting much engagement on your posts at all, I would be focusing all my efforts on commenting on people's posts. As soon as you do it to somebody in your target audience, they get a hit of dopamine because they created that to get feedback, to get engagement, and you're giving it to them. And so you're starting off the relationship with a positive brain chemical, dopamine. That's really valuable. And then if you get a reply on that comment, you might even do it on 3 or 4 posts, but then you send an invitation to connect and say, hey, really enjoyed your post. I'd love to connect, find out more about what you do. You're going to get like 80 to 90% of people accept your connection requests. It's huge because everyone's sending generic, like, I looked at your profile, blah, blah, blah. They haven't looked at your profile, and people can see through that bullshit. 90% of those sort of connection requests are not going to get accepted. You're going to need to send a lot to build a big audience. And as soon as you connect, and then as soon as they connect with you, you send them a sales pitch, forget about it, mate. That's not going to work. What's one mistake that you've seen on LinkedIn lately? Tell me in the chat. Don't worry about AI. People still trust people, 100%. It's a way to stand out. At the end of the day, you can't be doing the same thing as everyone else. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, it's more important than ever to be targeted. And you know what? Like, people trust referrals. People trust referrals. How do you get referrals? Like, you can get referrals from customers, but you can also get referrals from having a really good relationship with somebody on LinkedIn. So the second person you want to target is the person that is connected to a bunch of people in your target audience, right? Or like an influencer in your target audience, right? So, if you are in a market, like, there's so many different professions that target the same people that I do. The people in my audience with my content, by the way, are not all in financial services. That's just who I target. Most of them actually don't spend much time on LinkedIn. Most of the time, the people that engage with my content are coaches or in marketing or consultants. Who's connected with your audience? So, for me, when I started my business coaches was the big one. Business coaches. If somebody's hired a decent business coach, and I'm talking a good one from like the top of Google. Whoever's at the top of the Google, by the way, has the most customers. So that's a good idea of who you should be connecting with. And you build a relationship with them. Do collaborations with them. Comment on their stuff. Like really add value. Russell Brunson is the founder of ClickFunnels, and he wrote a book called, I think it's in Expert Secrets, where when podcasting just came out, he wrote a book about how you can position yourself as an expert. And one of the things that he suggested in there was you create a Dream 100, which is a list of 100 people that already have the audience that you want. 100 is a lot. I mean, Russell Brunson's pretty aggressive. You could do this with 10 people and it would have an impact. You could do it. You do it with 20 people, you'd be doing really well. 20 people. Who are 20 people that that are influential, that are posting content on the platform I want to be on, that have the audience I want? And then every post, you make sure the notifications bell is on, and you go and you comment on every post, not just for the author of the post, but for their audience. What do I mean by that? Well, add value to what he's already written. Don't just say, hey, great post, you're the man. Like, he said, these are the 3 things that I've noticed that people are doing wrong when it comes to sales. Just say, like, do you know what? Actually, number 2 really resonates with me, and here's why. Or that's a really good list. I would add one more thing. And so you're adding to value to the post. And then what will happen is your comment will actually get exposed in their feed as well as your feed. It's actually another view in your feed. So if you do like 20, 50, 100, 200 comments a day, you're going to get a lot of exposure. Huge amount. One of the biggest influencers on LinkedIn does 200 comments a day. I don't think he does anymore, but they used to. That's how he grew his account. So he gets really quick at it, right? I don't do that many, but I block out 2 half-an-hour slots each week strictly to comment on people's posts. And I use Aware to do this. The website is useaware.io, I believe. And I do have a discount code for it, which I could drop in the chat afterwards. I'll get that out for you. Alex the founder was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and they actually allow you to create your own custom feed. So, the target 1 and the target 2 that I talk about, you can create a feed with those people in it. So you don't have to, waste time going through people's stuff that you don't want to comment on, because you've got to get quick at it. So the mobile video feed, we're going to move on now. We're going on to the mobile video feed. A lot of people have been asking about this. What do I mean by mobile video feed? Well, LinkedIn introduced on there's Brooklyn. Bless her. So LinkedIn introduced the mobile video feed, which they picked up from TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube short. I mean, everyone's consuming short form content, right? They scroll through it on the mobile feed. You might hear all sorts of user statistics about LinkedIn. Trust me when I say over 90% of people are consuming content on a mobile device. It's for sure. I think it's a lot higher than that. But when they're measuring like how much time people spend on a desktop versus a mobile, the numbers are not always completely accurate, because if you think about it, how often do you leave a window open on your desktop? Like, I've got about 4 different LinkedIn tabs open right now, and they're just sitting there. They're open. You don't do that on a mobile. So it's a lot higher. Like I think they say the statistic is 88% of content is consumed on a mobile. It's probably more like 97%. It's a lot. All you should be thinking about is mobile. Anyway, so the video feed, when you go to the LinkedIn app, down the bottom, there was a button that said video. You could scroll through short form videos. Not every video would get put in the feed. It was very early. I picked up on it in November, and I learned that one of the things is you got to be consistent. It took me 3 weeks, got featured in the video feed, and went from getting 10,000 views a video, which is still pretty good if you're posting twice a week. First video that went into the feed got 750,000 overnight. Woke up 750,000 views. I got 2.1 million within a couple of weeks, which is a lot for me. Like I get 1 million, 1.5 million views a year normally. It's a lot of attention. So what is a view? The question is like, what is a view? Well, they watched it for 3 seconds at least, so it doesn't necessarily mean they watched the whole thing. And you got to wonder how relevant it is, because I look at profile views, like I told you earlier, like how many profile views does it correlate to? And it wasn't as high as what a normal view to profile view engagement rate would be. But that's normal. That's to be expected. It's still early days. It's a new feature. They're learning how to make the algorithm work, right? Anyway, so I've been telling people to get onto video because they're going to push it out and it's going to get more targeted and more relevant. LinkedIn video usage has gone up 35% per year since it's come out. So it's like the biggest trend that LinkedIn's looking at. They've got a lot of very intelligent people working on how to capitalize on this, and they know it's mobile. Now, the LinkedIn video feed is gone. And a lot of people, including influencers, are throwing their hands up in the air and saying, oh, this is, it's all over. And guys, you got to look at the underlying objective of LinkedIn. The stats and the consumer behavior are still the same. The very fact that I've looked on every LinkedIn blog, I've looked on all the leaders in the product team, and I can't find one announcement about it, tells me that something's gone wrong, right? I think something's gone wrong, something's crashed, something's broken, a server's not working or whatever, for whatever reason that they've had to take it down. Or they're doing some testing and they don't want to do the testing in public. Whatever it is, it's coming back. I'm not basing this on anything I've heard. I'm just basing it on my own experience. There's no way it's not coming back. At the moment, you're not going to get as much reach in your videos because there's no mobile video feed, okay? But when it comes back, everyone's going to be scrambling to take advantage of it. My suggestion is be prepared, be ready, because success happens when opportunity meets preparation. It's time to prepare. You need to be consistent. Post 2 videos per week. 1 video minimum. It's got to be 2. You got to post 2 videos a week. I don't care if you do them off off the cuff or you get them professionally done. But look, if you get them professionally done, you're going to save a lot of time, because you don't need to worry about saying and ah. You notice like I and ah quite a bit actually. For a professional speaker, I do it quite a lot. I don't have to worry about that when I'm shooting a video. I can do it in one take because the editors take care of that. They put in all the motion graphics to hold people's attention, some music at the start to keep people engaged, the visual hook at the start, showing visual imagery. So it's a lot easier to keep people's attention. You could do a combination of both. So if you sit down and record 100, not 100, you'd probably do 20 or 30 videos in one go. You could do that in an hour if you prepare properly. And then you just send them off to a video team to get edited. Now, this is how my business operates, is we create videos for clients, but we do it in a very different way to any other video production company that's out there. Most video companies will, they're very creative. So it'll be like, this video is about this part of your business. It just, when you get creative, you get expensive. Creativity is expensive. What I try to do is find out what works and systemize it, because then if you systemize it, you can actually get it done a lot quicker and a lot cheaper. So the video guys that I hired, there's a team of 3. And when I started working with them, they were using a lot of creativity. And there was also a lot of issues with clients, coming back and forth. Oh, I like this. Who cares? let's do exactly what works. So you've got a hook and you've got no ums and ahs, you've got no big silences. We use certain types of music, certain type of imagery. We finish with a call to comment. And so when I send them an hour long worth of content, when they send 20 to 30 videos back, they're all spot on. And it doesn't take a lot of time. There's not a lot of feedback. So we don't have to charge a fortune for that service. The service is called Behind the Brand. I interview the client and I ask questions that are designed to create short, engaging content. People who haven't got experience on camera are fantastic for this because they will talk for like 5 minutes. They'll waffle on about stuff that's got nothing to do with, and I will cut it down. Well, my team now do cut it down to 1 minute. And so they come across very engaging, very engaging. So I'm not telling this to sell to anyone. I'm just telling you how I do it because you can hack time. You should be able to create 3 months worth of video content in an afternoon. If you're doing it off the cuff, my suggestion is don't do more than one take because otherwise you're just going to spend ages doing it over and over and over again. If it doesn't do well, who cares? No one's going to see it anyway. Just do better on the next one. So I don't think the mobile video feed going is any reason to change strategy. I think mobile's video is getting a makeover. Be ready for big changes on how the content is served. If they are doing tests, they're only going to make it better, which means the content's going to be more relevant, which means it's going to be even more powerful than it was before. They're going to push video huge when they introduce it again. And I think you guys need to be ready. Thanks for all the comments, guys. I know I've been going a while. I've still got a little bit to go on LinkedIn video. Just quickly on the trust thing, though. The trust thing, your credibility on LinkedIn actually it's like a score. You're going to have a credibility score. It's a bit like a credit score with a bank, and it'll be built on your history, who engages with you, your storytelling, your references, your authenticity, your video, and your watch time. Watch time is something that I have barely mentioned. I think I mentioned it twice. It's something that I pay attention to for years on YouTube. How well your video does on YouTube comes down to how long people watch for. So if I've got a really good 45-minute video and you've got a really good 15-minute video, I'm going to do better because they've got more watch time. People watching longer if they watch the video. So it's the same thing on LinkedIn. They are measuring that now, and they are actually giving you those statistics. They had it in Australia for a little bit, took it away, but it's being rolled out. They never roll it out, in every country altogether. So watch time is something that's important. How long people are watching your video for. On average, after 10 seconds, 50% of your audience are gone. On average. But most videos suck. So you don't have to do much to be better than average. By a minute, 80% are gone. That's why I don't think you should make your videos longer than a minute and a half if you have to. But people aren't watching. You're better off, if you've got a 3-minute video and you can't find any way to cut it down, just make it 2 videos. You're much better off doing that because at least people are going to see it. Should LinkedIn rank your trustworthiness for the public to see? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments. I think they do. I think they should. Well, I think they will, I should say. It's getting late. Challenge accepted. Twice a week, Storm. I'm going to be watching. Video is your big advantage at the moment, and it might not seem that way because they've taken away the mobile feed, but it just makes it a bigger opportunity. I love it when I see big creators going, oh, this is great. Like people who are good at writing love it because they don't want video to be huge. They want to be able to use their writing posts that they've done before, and they think it's great. But don't sleep on video, guys. It's very important. By the way, video proves you're real and it builds trust because the AI is not really doing it yet. I mean, it is, but Jesus, come on. If you can't get the number of fingers I have on my hands right, then it's not good enough yet. So video is a great way to show authenticity and storytelling, reference relevant industry news, data, or research. LinkedIn's getting smarter and smarter. It's going to be able to tell these things very soon if it can't already. It's at a point now where I don't really know whether it can or not, but I know that it's that good that, that it's coming if it's not here already. So it's at the point where you've got to align yourself with LinkedIn's objectives. Understand what LinkedIn's trying to achieve and try to achieve the same thing. Trustworthiness. Okay. Get away from engagement pods, guys. So videos is great. And you know, watch time, it's going to increase dwell time. There's so much value in it. Doing lives like this is going to be a great way to get people to stay on your profile, increase your watch time, increase your credibility. You know, I mean, I do this every week, you know, and it's hard to promote because it's an event now. It's not like it alerts everyone in my network. But the fact that I get on here and I speak to my audience every week for an hour is a big credibility builder in the eyes of the algorithm and in real life, because the algorithm, you know, is designed to reflect real life. So what I would suggest sitting down is what I suggest doing is sitting down, coming up with like 30 video topics, try and get them under 3 content pillars, come up with like 30 video topics, go record all of them, either get them professionally edited by Bibi Media Group or do it yourself, whatever you want to do, and create at least 5 to 10 videos at once, and make sure you put subtitles burned in, because 90% of people, they ain't got the sound on. So if you want them to know what you're saying, make sure you burn in subtitles. You can do that for free without a membership on Opus Clip. So get onto Opus Clip and do that. Keep an eye on the news and content in your industry, because you could be the gatekeeper of news to your industry. The video I posted on YouTube a week ago, the ultimate guide to LinkedIn video in 2025, got 50,000 views in one day. That's a lot. And it's like 2 days, I think, after LinkedIn took away the mobile feed. So I think a lot of people were searching for LinkedIn video. So I think that's got to play a huge role into why I got so many views, because obviously YouTube and Google owns YouTube. So they show the most relevant recent videos right at the top. So while people were doing those searches, my video would have been ranking at the top. So I didn't intend to do that, but that's what happened. So keep your eye on the news. Make sure you leverage trends and use those keywords. Be the person who shows personality. Gone are the days where being prim and proper and correct is the most effective way to get people's engagement. You can, I'm not going to go as far as say swear, because again, going back to LinkedIn's like ethics and that, they have been proven to limit posts with swear words, but tell jokes, wear a silly t-shirt, wear a hoodie, be yourself. Find out what's unique about you and do more of that. Share more of your authentic side. Do a video when you're at your Thursday night netball game or whatever it is that makes you unique. Show some personality. The more polished it looks, the more professional it looks, like if you're doing it in a studio, the more authentic it needs to sound. Does that make sense? So you notice the best podcasts are in a really professional environment with professional cameras, but the authenticity is really good. That's what you got to be thinking about. So find ways to show authenticity. Okay. What do you find harder, writing a post or filming a video? Let me know in the comments. I've got to wrap this up, guys, because we're at an hour, and I know that you guys have got things to do. If you're in Australia, it's getting late, and if you're in the rest of the world, you've got busy lives. So look, the challenge is to post twice a week. I would get videos. I would start a weekly or monthly show. Doesn't have to be live, but just have some sort of format for your content, a theme, so that it's the same style and people know what to expect. Grow your network with relevant people, and get it active in the comments. Like, really get active in the comments. If you've got anything in common with the audience that I have, get active in my comments, because I like to comment on my community's posts. I do that a lot. One of my aware lists is my community, and I'm looking at what you're posting all the time. Unfortunately, a lot of you aren't posting, but when you are, I'm always interested in what you're saying. So do that. And in a world of filters and AI, your superpower is being real. So be authentic, show up, show your personality, show your authentic side. It's your edge in 2025. You could ignore a lot of the LinkedIn algorithms updates if you align your objectives with the objectives of the platform. That's all for tonight, guys. Have a great week in business. Thanks for being here. Peace. End stream.